So which mounts are actually the best mounts in the game? Roll it. Welcome back and subscribe right now, bastards and bastardettes. Was that too aggressive? Probably was. My bad. So what are the best mounts in the game? There's a shit ton of mounts in this game. The Hybrid Drake, the Hybrid Feywolf, the Yeti, the Yes Hound, the Deep Crow, the Fancy Horse, the Appaloosa Horse, the Apparatus of Gone, the Qualish, the Whirlwind, the Corsair, the Axebeak, the Bear, the Boar, the Boulet, the Ghost Horse, the Giant Strider, the Griffin, the Autumn Stag, the Axebeak, the Bulgura, Beholder, the Black Ice Warhorse, the Black Horse,
Owlbear, Stallion, Swarms, Pigs, Drakes, Steps, Horses, Twilights, Account Bound, Brown Siege, Bullets, Butterfly Wings, Celestial Stag, Celestial Wings, Champion Armored Bullets, Coastal Flea Snails, Commander Tyrannosaurus,
and a whole slew of shit. So what are the best mounts in the game? Stop it. Stop thinking it's about the best looking mounts, because I promise you it is not. I like good looking mounts as much as the next person, but beyond looks, are they actually useful? I mean, I have enough trouble with useful information on its own. I'd rather not also be burdened with what is useless information. And come on, let's be real here. The best mount in the game's look-wise, hands motherfudging down and kiss my gluteus maximus, is the gelatinous cube. Who doesn't want to be a jello cube roaming the Forgotten Realms? Yeah. Thought so. But the best mounts in Neverwinter for me are the ones with useful combat powers. The equip powers are secondary and don't matter as much. Not that they don't matter, but they don't matter as much in regards to what I think is useful. So let's start with the Painted Tyrannosaur. Using the Painted Tyrannosaur's combat power will increase the damage the target takes by 15% for 10 seconds. So basically a debuff mount. And as we all know, and if you don't, you know now, anything that debuffs is always good. And these mounts used to stack, but that isn't really a thing anymore. People use different mounts to apply different effects, and then when people do decide to use this combat power, they don't use it all at once, but rather they time their use of this combat power so it can be more effective. So the Painted Tyrannosaur is a great mount to have. Next great mount to have is the Carpet of Flying. When you use this combat power, the carpet will create a vortex of sorts and pull all enemies together and towards the center, thus making it easy to kill and control. This mount is very good, especially for lower end players and groups that struggle during mob phases. Nothing wrong with gathering your enemies before you beat them all to a pulp in unison. It's literally a very good mount for all level of players, from noobs to elitist pricks. This is a good mount for all flavors. Next in line is a whole slew of mounts, because all of these mounts have tunnel vision. Tunnel vision is a strong single target attack, so not a very team or party friendly combat power, but more of a look at me flexing my National Geographic balls all up in your grill type of power. It doesn't mean it's not good. It's most definitely good, even though not as powerful as it once was, because, we can't have nice things and nerfs. So the mounts that have this combat power are Aberrant Drake, Aberrant Feywolf, Apparatus of Gond, the Armored Bear, Armored Boar, Black Owlbear, Boots of the Misty Steppe, Boulet, Carmine Boulet, Cavalry Tyrannosaur, the Hag Cat, Decaying Stag, Echo's Titivated Lion, which sounds pretty perverted, Elite Shadow Wolf, Epic Giant Toad, Feywolf, Forest Flail Snail, Frozen Polar Bear, Fungal Flail Snail, Giant Crab, Gilded Giant Spider, Heavy Warg, the Hell Emblazing Warg, Hellhound, Hellfire Engine, High Forest Bear, Hound of the Forge, Leopard of Chult, Lord's Armored Polar Bear, Medium Tiger, Medium Warg, Moonbear, Ornate Apparatus of Gond, Owlbear, Panther, Polar Bear, Purple Owlbear, Red Hued Apparatus of Gond, Savage Polar Bear, Shadow Wolf, Sienna Tribal Lion, Skeletal Warg, Flaghound, Striped Owlbear, Surtux Banded Spider, Surtux Giant Red Crab, Surtux Giant Sunset Crab, Surtux Jungle Spider, Surtux Teal Crag Cat, Surtux Teal Spider, Tiger Striped Owlbear, the Toothsome, the Trained Grizzly, Tribal Polar Bear, Termius Lion, White Tiger, Winter Wolf, and Wolf of the Wild Hunt. Jesus Christ, I think I just sprained a lung. I think I got them all, and if I didn't, well, go cry to Rainer. His list, not mine, so blame him. Just kidding. That's a lot of useful companions if you're a tunnel vision fanatic. Next useful mount is the Tensor's Floating Disc. Not as powerful and as in demand as it once was in my opinion, but still useful, although more on the selfish side. When activated, you become a virtual fighting machine. You become stronger like me, tougher like me, faster like me, more skilled like me, and your damage and speed are increased by 15% for 10 seconds, and it also increases your strength, dexterity, and constitution ability stats by 1 for 10 seconds as well. So pretty decent. Next, we have the King of Spines. When the combat power from this mount is activated, your target will take 15% more damage for 10 seconds, and it can also consume a minion. But the 50% debuff is what makes the King of Spines a great mount to have in your arsenal. So if you can somehow get your hands on it, parties will like you more. No, seriously, they will. Next, we have the Giant Toad. The Giant Toad combat power is similar in damage and how it works with tunnel vision, even though it was generally slightly stronger than tunnel vision. Not the case exactly so much now, but it's still very good. It is also a combat power that benefits you personally and not your party as a whole. When used, it basically summons a giant tongue, sounds extremely perverted by the way, and has the same max magnitude as Tunnel Vision had with 3000. Another useful mount that most haven't noticed is the Celestial Wings and its combat power called the Divine Intervention. When you use this combat power, all enemies get knocked back and take damage. It does additional damage to devils, demons, and fiends. But here's the funny part. When I was soloing Lam and IC with my rogue and I used this combat power, sometimes it almost one-shotted all the mobs, which made the mob phase much easier for me. And it has a surprising range to it. I personally think it's useful, especially for groups who struggle with mobs in general. Something to consider. Maybe not the best mount, but definitely a good choice. For me, this mount was surprisingly strong. Next, we have the last of the Tyrannosaurs, none other than the Commander Tyrannosaur. When you use its combat power, your target will take 15% extra damage, just like the other Tyrannosaurs. So basically, all 3 Tyrannosaurs have a debuff combat power, and they do not stack individually like they used to, or even altogether. So each one has to be used separately and not all at once. A great mount to have for all groups. Another really good mount to consider is the Bat Swarm. Granted, not as good as it used to be, which is typically the same for all mounts. None of them are as good as they used to be for the most part. But using the Bat Swarm's combat power increases your damage by 15% for 10 seconds, slows your target by 15% for 10 seconds, and increases the damage your target takes by 15% as well. So also a debuff. And increases your target's critical chance by 15%. So all in all, a great combat power, but doesn't stack with other swarms like it used to. So that part kind of sucks. Now let's get into the last 2 mounts of this list, and both are useful during trials mostly, like Tom and Zerial, but I'm pretty sure they could be useful elsewhere as well. First one is the Armored Griffin. When you use the Armored Griffin's combat power, it reduces the target's outgoing damage by 15% for 10 seconds and applies a stun effect for 1 second. It also increases your intelligence, your wisdom, and your charisma by 1 point for 10 seconds as well. Mostly used in endgame trial groups, but you can use it elsewhere as well if you see fit. Generally a great mount to have. And lastly, we have the Armored Boulet, which is also a good mount to have, especially in trials. Once you activate the combat power, it reduces the target's outgoing damage by 15% and lasts 10 seconds. So really helpful for your tanks to get a reduction in damage during those really endgame difficult trials. So it doesn't really hurt to have one. Those are all the best mounts in the game in my opinion, best considering their combat powers only, not based on how they look or their equip powers. So if you have any of these, congratulations. Upgrade them to Mythic and add them to your arsenal. If not, then maybe one day you can get these somehow. Anyways, gotta go and work on some new vids. I live to serve, and I don't get paid enough for this shit, so consider becoming a Patreon or donating. Links in the description. Galactic here. Peace out. Stay safe.